Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Uh, Thank you for joining me again. Today is December the 14th, 2021. So I have several updates to share with you. I will start with news from Finfinne network. Uh, about the war in Oromia and also the war in northern part of Ethiopia. So thank you again for joining me. Then after this video is finished, I will go to other news and also a couple of videos at the end of uh, the reading material. So I'm happy to see you again. Let's get started with this Finfinne news. There you go. Let's see.
Welcome back to Finfinne News Network, FNN News, and I am your host, Sibel. In news on the ongoing civil war, the OLA has continued its advance towards the capital. And most recently, OLA spokesperson Oda Tarbi reported via Twitter that a number of trucks belonging to government forces in East Shawa were neutralized after they were seen to be harassing citizens and trying to get citizens to give information on the location of the OLA and its supporters. And he also writes in this tweet that government reinforcements from Adama are set to arrive. The OLA has also reported killing more than 300 enemy combatants across Oromia in the last few days. In the East Walaga zones, the OLA reported a massive victory over Ethiopian government troops and seized most of those towns and cities in that area. And in offensive and counteroffensive operations it conducted in Ano, the OLA destroyed the enemy camp at Gute. So we will put up a map of that here. So here you can see the city of Nekemte in the middle, and then the location on the side is Ano, and the camp at Gute is also on this map here. The OLA also attacked the enemy troops that crossed the Didesa River from Ilu Ababor and Jima and arrived at actually that city in the middle, Nakamte, Jato, Darge, and the New Kunba district also, and inflicted heavy casualties on government troops. And there were other places where the OLA attacked the enemy, including at Lekadulacha, Gatama, Jima Arjo, and the town of Mose in Wana Agalo. Meanwhile, in the West Arsi zone, the OLA reported killing over 12 and injuring 17 enemy combatants that were preparing for an early attack in the Heban district that was just yesterday. In another area of the country, the OLA attacked and also killed 2 members of the Ethiopian regime army located in Odabultum, which is in the West Hararge zone, and also killed 43 enemy combatants in Fantale in the East Shawa zone in a battle that consisted of heavy fighting and lasted a full 3 days between December 11th and today, as we're filming this, December 13th. Here on this map, you can see the capital Finfinne to the west over there, and on the very side, in the middle right there, you can see Fantale, and then Odabultum is marked on the right side. Overall, the OLA now controls most of the west and east Walaga zones, as well as central Oromia, surrounding the capital of Finfinne, and the east and west Guji zones and the Borana zone. And the OLA has also established itself in other areas, including Arsi, Bale, in east and west Hararge, in Jimma, and in the Ilu Ababor zones. Meanwhile, the TDF has declared capturing a strategic town of Gashena, which is in the Amhara region, after its recent retreat that it says was a strategic retreat that it actually intended to carry out. And it was reported this past week that the TPLF also retook the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Lalibela 11 days after it was captured by Abiy's forces. Meanwhile, the TDF has still withdrawn from some areas that it previously controlled as it dealt with attacks that were launched from behind and also potential damage to its supply chain that it was relying upon. And the war in some northern areas of Ethiopia has also recently been rekindled. In other news, a letter that was recently leaked to ESAT TV, which is an Amhara diaspora TV channel, shows that the Ethiopian government has ordered the media not to air any information about the ongoing conflict with the OLA. We'll put an image of that letter that was leaked to ESAT here. So the letter here describes that the stated purpose of not covering the war, one is to prevent the public and global community from receiving information about which areas of the country have been taken by the OLA. Another would be to suggest that the OLA has failed to liberate or essentially recapture even local administrations, and to sort of cause OLA supporters, people who are supporting the army, to lose hope that there is possible progress for the movement. And another reason stated in this letter here is for government-sponsored media to essentially have a monopoly on information that is disseminated and to have free reign to essentially propagate fabricated allegations and put out propaganda portraying the OLA negatively. And the letter also suggests that this block on reporting any activities of the OLA will allow the government to conduct covert operations and to continue to retake areas that are currently under OLA control, and as I said before, also to essentially allow propaganda to be broadcast freely without differing points of view in the news. And in other news on Oromia, the Oromia Support Group has just released its 58th report in which it updates its figure of the total death toll of Ethiopian citizens killed by the regime since October of 2018, excluding those deaths that took place in Tigray and Afar. That current death toll now stands at 2,701, and that includes 1,905 Oromos, 1,548 of which were killed in 2020 and 2021. And that report from the OSG also expands upon the massacre at a religious ceremony in Karayu in East Shoa recently. I'll put up a copy of that report. So here, expanding upon the reports that were received by FNN News of the massacre that took place in Karayu that occurred on the 1st of this month, the OSG found that in total 14 bodies were found. However, 25 others who were beaten and disappeared by government forces during that incident still remain unaccounted for. And as FNN reported on previously, Jilu Didu, pictured here in this little picture, who was the Abagada, or a traditional leader in the community, was also among those killed, as well as other important community leaders and representatives who were present at that religious ceremony that was targeted by government troops. And the report also draws attention to some background on the area in which the massacre occurred and its significance to the conflict, as referenced from a report that was released by the OLA, dated from August. And so it states here, in terms of the background of that massacre, Amhara state security forces have crossed the border and launched an invasion in Fantale in Karayu. In that situation, we have seen the resettling of people from Amhara state into the captured land in Oromia. This is all part of the trend we are seeing throughout the country. Claims of ancestral ownership made by the radical, powerful elements in the Amhara regional state's government are being enforced by the state's security apparatus. That has resulted in the terror we have seen in western Tigray, Metakel, Wolu, and now East Walaga and Karayu. We will see the kind of brutal ethnic cleansing that has happened in western Tigray to be repeated throughout the country. So again, that's some background that was given by the OSG on the the political and social situation that was present in Karayu, in that area already, before this recent massacre happened. And another killing that was raised in the OSG's report that occurred fairly recently occurred in Harukarza, which is a very nearby town to Karayu, on November 30th. According to local reports obtained by the OSG, authorities attacked Oromos living there after demanding that they give up, again, OLA supporters or reveal their locations and identities. Officials also beat and harassed local residents and raped women, according to testimonies from locals. And when a crowd gathered together in an attempt to prevent those authorities from taking away 5 young men from the community, the authorities then opened fire, resulting in deaths. In other news, the Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa has released a statement commemorating the 73rd anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly adopting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And that letter also addresses some of the grave human rights concerns currently that they state are occurring in Ethiopia. And the report states here that the HRLHA has received multiple reports of essentially threats to human rights in Ethiopia, especially since the state of emergency was first declared on November 2nd. According to that statement, some of those human rights abuses include a lack of accountability and persistence of the culture of impunity for human rights abuses, extrajudicial killings, suppression of the freedom of peaceful demonstration and protest, shrinking of the political space and harassment of oppositions, communication blackouts, harassment of journalists and activists, civilian attack, arbitrary arrest, inhumane treatment, and forced disappearance. And this statement also calls upon the Ethiopian government and other belligerents in the conflict to declare an immediate ceasefire and to immediately begin an all-inclusive national dialogue. Going forward, we will continue to update you on the OLA's progress towards the capital, the ongoing conflict with the government, and other news on Oromia. Thanks again for watching FNN News, Finfine News Network, and I am your host, Sibel.
Okay. Thank you, Sibel, Finfine News Network, for that update. So it's really there are ups and downs in this in the military conflict, and sometimes makes you disappointing, especially after TDF and OLF or OLA gain a ground and push until Shoarobit. Then, surprisingly, that thing turned upside down. Now, who enjoyed that short moment of victory might be facing revenge, especially in Wallo, Oromia special zone. Many atrocities we are witnessing after TDF and OLA withdraw. This Amara militia and the Fano, they are out of control, really. Nobody controls them. They are doing all kind of atrocities against residents in Wallo area. Abiy cannot control them, and other Amara authorities, they cannot control them. They don't care if you surrender. They mistreat you, abuse you. They never learn from their past mistake. They're just doing the same dirty work, abusing, confiscating properties, torturing, killing, all happening. So as we are now, now TDF is coming back. As you heard on the news, they took Gashena and Lalibela. They are also fighting in a Gondar front. So there is no closing for this conflict. There is no closing for this bloody war. It will continue, until one side win and settle the issue, or until they come up with some kind of ceasefire and a negotiation and a peaceful resolution for that country's problem. Abiy is stubborn. He determined to use all 100 million Ethiopians and all the resources that country has. So that is why we continue to see the bloodshed continue, and we just follow it. Disappointing sometimes. Sometimes you feel frightened, and there are up and down, and sometimes you can't even tell what's happening. But we'll follow it and we'll report to you. Thank you again. Let's read other news quickly and finish up today's presentation. Okay, she talked about the atrocities happening in Oromia. In addition to targeting Tigrayans, just because because they are from Tigray, now Oromos are also suffering in a similar situation. Ethiopia's emergency declaration has been intensively used to round up Oromos and subject them to various atrocities without any accountability. As she said, that just within the last 2 weeks, 41 Karayu Oromos, including their senior leaders from East Shoa Zone, were rounded up by Prosperity Security Forces. 14 of them massacred, and the whereabouts of 25 is still unknown. Fortunately, 2 survived and witnessed that, the incident, this very dangerous incident, and they reported to the locals about this killing. So those 41 people, 25 still not known where they are. Nobody knows if the authorities killed them or arrested them underground. Nobody knows, and nobody is accounted for this killing. And the government lied about it, blaming OLA for this crime. Today again, Oromo Media Network has reported the arrests of 4 well-respected Oromo elders from South Oromia zone in Borana district in Negele city just by blaming them as sympathizers or supporters of Oromo Liberation Army. Their names are Mr. Arero Galgalo, 70 years old man, Mr. Dida Bashir Laga, Mr. Wario Jibicha, and Mr. Igaja Murasa. These are 4 senior Oromo leaders or elders from Nagele Borona arrested today by Prosperity Party security personnel. Residents of Borona are already facing extreme drought and its impacts on their livestock and its challenge on their living situation. And instead of gaining humanitarian aid from the Ethiopian government and the international donors, they are further condemned and humiliated by their own government. The other Oromo younger man named Wabi Burka was also taken into custody from Adama City today by Prosperity Security personnel by using the same accusation as OLA supporter. Thousands and thousands of Oromos, including senior Oromo political leaders, are in Ethiopian government jails without any legal process or legal due processes. So the global community's silence on the atrocities happening in Oromia region by the Ethiopian government is seen as a green light to these criminal entities to continue these brutalities on Oromos. Concerned citizens media urge the Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, UN, European Union, and the United States to act swiftly and end human sufferings in Oromia region. UN human rights body to hold a special session about Ethiopia. The United Nations top human rights body said it will hold a special session on Friday to discuss the grave human rights situation in Ethiopia and a call to set up an international commission of experts to monitor and report on it. The Human Rights Council agreed to hold the session following a request by the European Union, which said it acted in the wake of a joint report by UN Human Rights Office and the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission last month that decried the terrible toll on civilians in the conflicts in Ethiopia's Tigray region and the human rights violations and abuses committed by all sides. The European bloc said Monday that it supports the unity of Ethiopia and said the international community has a moral obligation to try to stop further atrocities and ensure accountability and justice for victims. The announcement came along with a draft resolution that, among other things, calls for the creation of a one-year International Commission of Human Rights Experts on Ethiopia, whose role will include reporting on rights abuses and violations and advising on ways to bring justice and accountability to victims. For a special session to take place, the support of 1/3 of the Council's 47 member states is required. Tens of thousands of people have been killed in the war that erupted in November last year between Ethiopian forces and the Tigray forces, who had long dominated the national government before Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed took office in 2018. So this is, if it's successful, good for accountability in that country, UN Human Rights Council. The next one is about lack of justice and lawlessness, and there is a break of law in order in Ethiopia. This is about journalist Tamrat Negara. This guy is pro-Abiy, pro-Menelik, pro-war, but still facing injustice. He is pro-war, he is ongoing pro-Menelik, and still facing injustice. Family of Tamrat Negara unable to find his whereabouts since Friday. Tamrat Negara, the editor-in-chief of the Oromia, the online media Terra network, was arrested last Friday from his house. The YouTube-based media network said in a statement today that the family of Tamrat were unable to find him at Addis Ababa Police Commission's Sostenya police station after his arrest on Friday. His wife, Salam Belai, told Addis Standard that their attempts to locate him since last Friday were futile. On Friday, Tamrat was taken by men wearing uniforms of the federal police, according to Salam, who added that the police confiscated all media equipment that they said were needed for information after searching his residence and his office. She also said that they were not told the reason for his arrest. In a statement shared this afternoon, Tamrat Terera Network said that Tamrat's family, who went to Sostenya police station on Friday, was told that his case was transferred to Oromia Police Commission. Since then, the family were to the Oromia Police Commission and were told that Tamrat was not brought there, the statement said. The statement continued, Tamrat's family was told to look for him in police stations found in Oromia Special Zone surrounding Finfinne, Burayu, and Galan. The family was not able to find him in police station in the said towns, according to the statement, promoting them to return to Sostenya police station, demanding the whereabouts of Tamrat. His family was today told that they might have searched the wrong address and were referred back to the Galan city, the statement read, adding, his family is in a distress for not being able to deliver food and medicine for 4 days. Addis Standard contacted the spokesperson of the Addis Ababa Police Commission, Commissioner Fasika Fanta, who responded by expressing his guesses that Tamrat might be in the custody of Oromia Police Commission. The Commissioner of Oromia Police Commission, Ararsa Merdasa, declined to comment until he is contacted in person. Credit Addis Standard. So that is the injustice we are opposing in Ethiopia. This is ridiculous, and unaccountability is very high. They can play on human being, but telling you go there, confusion, and terrorizing citizens. We hate that. That's why concerned citizens started this program. This is not right. This is illegal. This is inhumane treatment. You can be arrested for a reason, and that arrest should be legal, and the family and your lawyer must know where you are arrested, where you are kept, and you must have a court system to handle the issue. But now it's a mafia state. Ethiopia is a mafia state, and they learned very excellent example from Eritrean government. And the Amara elites are happy with it, with this kind of system. Reports of human rights abuses, atrocities, and destruction in Amara and Afar regions. This is press statement from U.S. State Department at this time blaming TDF. I don't know what evidence they have, but this press statement blame TDF. The United States notes with grave concern unconfirmed new reports alleging egregious human rights abuse, atrocities, and the destruction of civilian infrastructure by Tigray forces in the Amara and Afar regions of Ethiopia. We call on all armed actors to renounce violence against civilians. We also urge authorities to investigate these reports to determine their veracity and to commit to inclusive, transparent process to hold responsible parties accountable. You expect it from Ethiopian government to do this? The United States reiterates our support for diplomacy as the first, last, and only option to cease hostilities, just as we call for an end to human rights abuses and violations, negotiations without preconditions, unhindered humanitarian access, and the start to inclusive national dialogue. I'm happy with the last statement. We need, unhindered humanitarian access and inclusive dialogue in this bloodshed. We appreciate the United States for continued effort on calling for dialogue, for human rights, humanitarian aid, and for inclusive dialogue and for ceasefire. But Abiy is not listening. Kenya National Day. This is also from State Department. On behalf of the government of the United States of America and the American people, I send best wish to the people of Kenya on the occasion of your National Day, as you mark the establishment of Kenya as a republic and 58 years of independence. Let us also celebrate the strong partnership between our two nations. The partnership between the United States and Kenya extends beyond our government to include our civil societies, our private sectors, and our people, our deep people-to-people ties. Our close collaboration on shared priorities was on display during my recent visit to Nairobi, and I am confident that our work together will advance a better future for the people of the United States and Kenya. Please accept our congratulations on this anniversary of Kenya's independence. So that is a statement from Secretary Antony Blinken. on Kenya's National Day. I would be happy if I am the president of Ethiopia and I receive such friendly cooperative letter. But Ethiopia is not treated in that way because of Abiy Ahmed abuses and war mentality and wrong direction and guidance he received from Isaias Afwerki and those the Amara elites who are pushing him from corner to corner and taking the country into the toilet. Sudanese Prime Minister replaces acting state governors named after military coup. Khartoum. Sudanese Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok has replaced all acting state governors appointed by the country's military leaders after a coup in late October, a document seen by Reuters on Sunday said. The decision is part of effort by Hamdok, who returned to the premiership under a deal with the military to roll back changes made by the military following the takeover. Hamdok has also replaced most of the caretaker deputy ministers appointed by the military, some of them veterans of the rule of Omar al-Bashir, who was toppled amid a popular uprising in 2019. However, Hamdok has yet to name a cabinet technocrats as stipulated by the November 21st deal he struck with the military and faces a challenge in doing so due to opposition to the deal from political parties and protesters. The agreement was announced after mass protests against the military and wide condemnation by the international community of the coup, which appended a transition towards election. Okay, this one is interesting. Ghana airport to find airlines that bring unvaccinated passengers. Accra. The operator of the Ghana main international airport will fine airlines 3,500 for every passenger they fly in who is not vaccinated against COVID-19 or who tests positive for the coronavirus upon arrival, it said on Monday. The rule comes into effect on Tuesday at Kotoka International Airport in the capital Accra, Ghana Airport said. It follows a health ministry move last week to require all people entering Ghana to be vaccinated. The measures are some of the strictest in Africa, where vaccine uptake has been challenged by lack of supply and logistical issues, even as the new Omicron variant raises concern about quicker transmission of the virus. Ghana's tightening of restriction comes as the European Investment Bank announced a €75 million, $85 million investment loan to support its pandemic response, the largest such support for a COVID-19 program in sub-Saharan Africa. Ghana has taken significant steps to manage the impact of COVID and to unlock long-term investment, EIB President Werner Hoyer said in a statement. The authorities launched a massive vaccination drive this month ahead of the enforcement from January 22 of a vaccine mandate for targeted groups, including government employees, health workers, and students. It plans to recruit more health workers to be able to double daily inoculation from 140,000. Ghana, one of West Africa's largest economies that runs on exporting of cocoa, gold, and oil, has so far vaccinated slightly more than 5% of its population of 30 million, data compiled by Reuters showed. It's very low, 5% of 30 million. Its health service has recorded 131,412 infections and 1,239 deaths from COVID-19, according to the data. Over the last 2 weeks, COVID-19 cases recorded at Kotoka Airport accounted for about 60% of total infection in the country, the health service said on Friday. Oh, that's bad. 60% at the airport. Okay, this may be the last one. There we go, the last reading. G7 foreign ministers' statement on Russia and Ukraine. The text of the following statement was released by the G7 foreign ministers of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the United States of America, and the High Representative of the European Union. We, the G7 foreign ministers of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and the United Kingdom, and the United States of America, and the High Representative of the European Union, are united in our condemnation of Russia's military buildup and aggressive rhetoric towards Ukraine. We call on Russia to de-escalate, pursue diplomatic channels, and abide by its international commitments on transparency of military activities, as President Biden did in his call with President Putin on 7th December. We reconfirm our support for the efforts of France and Germany in the Normandy format to achieve full implementation of the Minsk agreement in order to resolve the conflict in eastern Ukraine. Any use of force to change borders is strictly prohibited under international law. Russia should be in no doubt that further military aggression against Ukraine would have massive consequences and severe cost in response. We reaffirm our unwavering commitment to Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, as well as the right of any sovereign state to determine its own future. We commend Ukraine's posture of restraint. We will intensify our cooperation on our common and comprehensive response. So this is credit for State Department, G7 countries warning Russia not to intimidate Ukraine and not provoke war. So thank you. That's the last part of the reading. I have a couple of short videos, then I will conclude today's presentation. Thank you for joining me again. Okay, let's see. Okay, there you go. Okay, there you go. There we go. This is advertisement. Hold on.
The queue trailed out of the.
There we go. These are very short ones, not long videos, so we're gonna finish quickly. There we go. Come on.
Hospital gates and down the street. The stark warning of an imminent tidal wave of Omicron, prompting a massive surge of vaccine uptake at hundreds of vaccination centres across the UK. The Prime Minister visited a vaccination centre to see the work firsthand and broke the news of the UK's first Omicron-related death.
Omicron is producing hospitalisations, and sadly, at least one patient has now been confirmed to have died with Omicron. So I think the idea that this is somehow a milder version of the virus, I think that's something we need to set on one side and just recognise the sheer pace at which it accelerates through the population.
The mission to offer millions of booster jabs by December 31st will see 42 military planning teams deployed across every health region, extra vaccine sites and mobile units, extended clinic opening hours to allow people to be jabbed around the clock and at weekends, and the training of thousands more volunteer vaccinators. Hitting the government's target would mean 1 million jabs being put into people's arms every single day between now and the end of December, and that's never been achieved before. Currently, the NHS is managing around half of that. But the importance of trying has been emphasised by new modelling, which shows that in some circumstances, Omicron could cause double the number of hospitalisations that Delta did a year ago. And the booster jab gives 70% protection against infection. New rules on wearing masks and working from home have now also come into effect in England. Passenger numbers on public transport have dropped significantly, and many businesses are cancelling their end-of-year parties. But there are determined pockets of political and public resistance to new restrictions.
I've been speaking to a lot of people. I don't think that the compliance will be as high as it has been in past lockdowns, simply because we've had this stint of basically no restrictions.
With the Christmas holiday less than 2 weeks away, it's going to be a race against time to avoid even more stringent restrictions. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, London.
Okay, this is the last video. The impact of last 2 days tornadoes in the United States. That's a cleanup. Okay. That's a devastating tornado in Kentucky and Illinois and other states. So it's a tragedy. But, you know, after all these vaccinations, you know, we thought we are out of the wood, but now we have another virus, the new variant, Omicron, start creating trouble again. So, you know, we have to be careful, you know, get the booster shot and also watch, you know, the news, how this new variant is spreading. It's already, you know, going to different countries. It's already, even in the United States, I think. So be careful, guys. We are in trouble. We are in trouble, really. So we are not even finished dealing with, you know, COVID-19. Now we have another variant. So just use common sense and pay attention and, you know, try to save yourself and your family and follow, you know, the general guidelines from these health and the government officials. So that will be the end of today's presentation. Thank you for joining me. You know, I hope this harassment, killing, arresting, and abuses of citizens in Ethiopia will end soon, and hopefully there will be a closing for this bloody war very soon. I know the Abiy group don't want it. They want to win it. They want to show their power and continue their atrocities and bring back controversial Menelik administration in Ethiopia. You know, Ethiopians need time to negotiate on our past histories. We need to deal with the flags if we want to live as a country. Without dialogue, without reconciliation, nobody will accept the old history to come back and hurt Oromos and others. So very serious business left, and this war is part of that serious challenge. And the group supporting Abiy Ahmed, they don't see it as a problem. They see it as an opportunity to control others, to defeat others by force, and then celebrate, dance as a victory. And that will not give you a lasting peace in that country. We need to deal with all concerns of all citizens, all ethnicities, and all the challenges must be discussed for all citizens of that country to live together. Thank you again. I will be back with other news and updates. Please be careful about those COVID-19 and this new variant, Omicron. So long, everyone. Be safe.